shoot, I said that you claim it. It's that Xbox, spin the block, his legs slide. Fast talker, no riddling, moonwalker, selling moon rock just to make dividends. You in traffic with family? That much making a portrait. Gun kick back, not grannies from porches. David on the scene, you know that it's scorching. What's a man with king? No response to the saying, advancing the line, advancing the payment. You front the game and shoot, what said that you claim?
You already know the time, told my boys to hold the line. We gon' shoot it out in seconds, leave you posted like a vine. Bow your head down to the king, leave your roses at the shrine. We stay ready for the war, just need the king to drop the sign. Say what you running from, what you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? Say what you running from, what you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? This what you wanted. This what you wanted, huh?
Peace and blessings, and welcome back to Xbox Frontline News with your boy, the King. Now, we are getting into the second half of the year. June is almost over with. We have great games coming to Xbox Game Pass PC. I've been waiting for Warcraft to enter Game Pass, and this is one step further into breaking that barrier down. So minor steps before larger steps. I'm cool. There are licensees and there's agreements involved, and let's get past that part in order to get to this part. I know if it does come to Game Pass on console, there's going to be a subscription hike dramatically. So I understand these things, and listen, I'm willing to have that conversation once those things actually get inside Game Pass. Once you have multiple games that are subscription based in their initial nature, maybe the subscription of the actual Game Pass Ultimate doesn't go up, and you have that separate subscription of World of Warcraft inside Game Pass. That you get the vanilla version, and of 1, 2, and 3, and then so on, and then you're able to get the subscription to World of Warcraft within that, and you get a discount through Game Pass. I think that will boost users, but you have to start crafting it around the controller. I don't know if, Xbox does have mouse and keyboard support. I don't know how you work yourself around that. I know that there are workarounds, and I know that Microsoft and Xbox are working diligently and making that happen. Now, for a lot of you guys, y'all don't care. Like a lot of you guys didn't care for the Call of Duty at the end of the Xbox showcase. Me personally, there's a ton of people like Mr. Boomstick XL that was the loudest voice inside the room when he did get a chance to see Call of Duty pop up at the end, because he's a huge Call of Duty fan. And 108 Dragons TV is another one. So again, I know sometimes that stuff don't reach you, but there are people that actually care about these games, and those games needs to be represented and seen. There are huge cash cows when it comes to Xbox and Microsoft, and those people need to be represented. Maybe it didn't resonate with me. Maybe it didn't resonate with you, but it did resonate with millions and millions of other people that was looking forward to this franchise have taken center stage or taken some form of light inside the showcase, being talked about, knowing that it's coming out every year, knowing that we're going to have a new story, knowing that we're going to have new gameplay. The wall running isn't there, but there's like wall hopping that they're doing. We needed that information. But let's get into the PlayStation VR 2 drama. Let's talk about some stuff with Nintendo, and let's see exactly if we can get to some answers in this show. I'm Lord King David, your new best friend. I drop videos daily, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if it's your first time finding the channel, hit that like, hit the subscribe. And if you want to become a member, become a member. I drop tons of videos for members in the background. We got merch, we got stuff, we got slogans, we got sayings. Hey, it's a one-stop shop for what you need. Check us out. Let's keep going. So I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for this day. And as we edge closer and closer to having Warcraft on console, PC Game Pass happens to get 1, 2, and 3 remastered into the fold onto PC Game Pass. And down there you're going to say, what does that mean, King? Like, what is that about? The handheld utilizes PC Game Pass, right? This is edging closer and closer to you playing Warcraft, closer and closer to your existing way that you want to play. how you interact with Xbox. For me personally, this is a big thing. Now, this is one of the bigger months that I've seen for PC Game Pass. Now, I know a lot of people is going to say, well, King, that doesn't really, float my boat, and that's not really something that I'm thinking about. What about Call of Duty World War II? Does that float your boat? A lot of these games are coming out to PC Game Pass, and I don't think we talk more about it, but I think now going forward, we're going to look closely at the relationship of Game Pass and PC Game Pass linking and blurring the lines of individuality and forcing a tighter unity across the boards. Game Pass and PC, I saw a lot of people saying that there needs to be a structured financial aspect when it comes to Game Pass and PC Game Pass. There are fundamental differences between the two. As far as licensings go and stuff that they can work around. Remember, we got Death Stranding a whole lot earlier before, based off of the way PC Game Pass is structured. So we got it over there, and I got it over there. So you got to really understand there's a lot of legalities that go into it. I don't really give a damn, to be honest with you. So if I'm able to have a device that I'm able to switch from Windows, Xbox, and Xbox console, and those devices are actually one unit, and I'm able to jump from operating systems or perceived operating systems, that blurs and removes the barrier of entry. PC Game Pass, once you have Game Pass Ultimate, you already have that stuff, right? That is where the whole magic starts to happen. As you start to see those lines get blurred, once you have Game Pass Ultimate, you have PC Game Pass, and then whatever device that you're on, that's Play Anywhere, you take that device, you go anywhere, you do whatever you're going to do with it. Xbox is blurring the lines, removing the barriers, and taking away the perceived advantages of other manufacturers that they have in the ecosystems, while Nintendo is pushing exclusivity and you can only play it here. That's limiting the scope of where they're able to move. PlayStation is moving to a larger third-party company strategy, much like Xbox has already went there. It depends on what your company is able to do and how fast they're able to make those moves. Microsoft and Xbox is able to make those moves a whole lot faster because they have already been everywhere. Windows is everywhere. So Xbox will become a de facto everywhere device. It would be as having a PC. Xbox will be your PC. Anything that you have that runs Windows is your Xbox. So the mindset is definitely there. Everybody was always trying to figure out who was going to do it first, like what company was going to do it first. Logically, the only person that could do it first, or the only company that could do it first, was Microsoft. Microsoft was the only one that was built to diversify their portfolio, to make sure that the console is preserved. Your experiences is saved. How do we do that? By taking it and placing it into a myriad of different ways that it can be accessed, right? The first thought of death when it comes to consoles, like if you look at it, right, and you look at all throughout the years, consoles always were one way in, one way out, one stop, and then you waited for the next generation. These things has always been a problem. Microsoft announces a new Dream Team partnership with AMD and on a portfolio of next-gen Xbox devices, all with backwards compatibility with existing games. And this is coming from PC Gamer, right? So, you have Jeremy Leonard writing this article, and cool. You really have to look at everybody's different take on it. And there's a lot of phobias. There's a lot of what happens now. A lot of newness is lost. There's going to be things that I'm going to talk deeper in, but this article itself gives you a basic idea of where the PC world is looking at it as from Microsoft, kind of, and they've always been there, but kind of invading the PC space. There's a lot of sensibilities being stomped on here. And I appreciate it, honestly. Disruption. Disruption is the key. So the broad takeaway of backwards compatibility, Sarah Bond said the partnership with AMD will deliver the next generation of graphics innovation. And you're looking at DirectX 13, right? So DirectX 13 and DirectX 12 are the building blocks of the future of where Windows sees the graphical capabilities and flexibilities of their operating system going. And with Windows 12, I believe DirectX 13 plays a strong foundational part in going forward, right? But critically, it will do so as while maintaining backwards compatibility with your existing library of Xbox games. Now, you have to understand, they're not talking physicals, but at the end, you can always put an optical drive into your hardware unit that accepts USB and get your 360 games in there. I was talking to someone that is PC and tech savvy, and as long as Microsoft and Xbox allows the conjunction of a USB disk drive outside accessory, then you will always have access to those 360 BIOS, and you'll be able to play your 360 games. So that's what I was led to believe. When I'm able to ask those questions further, I think I can get those answers. And another nothing burger, Nintendo Switches, $1 million worth of Switches have been stolen. You can't, what, I mean, okay, I guess if you stole something and you sold it, it's free money. I don't know if Nintendo can find the SKUs that were stolen, like the batch numbers and stuff like that of those units. But again, why would you penalize the public for where they got it from? You can't really trace it. It is what it is. Stolen consoles sold on the web, on Facebook Marketplace, on eBay. They're not going to give above retail prices. So odds is if you happen to see somebody talking about they have a brand new Switch for the low price of $300, well, the odds are you got one of those from the batch of the stolen. Switch 2 consoles are all the hype right now, and the console is becoming Nintendo's fastest selling software hardware in the history. Within the first few days, it sold more than 3.5 million. Demand for the console is high. Nintendo has been doing everything to meet it, even events that may cause serious problems. Switch 2 robbers get their hands on close to 3,000 units. According to reports on the news, Switch 2 heists occurred at the Love Truck stop at Interstate. I'm not going to go into all that stuff, but they confirmed that 2,810 Switch 2 consoles were stolen from the back of a truck. The driver informed authorities that he was on his way to GameStop store and in Texas from Nintendo America and wasn't aware of the trailer contents. Listen, sure you wasn't. And whoever targeted you knew what was in there, and I guess they knew what they was looking for. Great. That guy is going to be checked, double checked, triple checked for the rest of his life. If any money fall into your account, you start buying anything, Brody, I hope you had nothing to do with it, honestly. Because if you did, I don't care. They're going to be looking at your most frequent phone calls. Though whoever calls you a lot, they're going to be looking at them. And they're going to be looking at their friends and their friends. Not even worth the headache. We live in a police time. It's not even worth the headache. Trust me. Supposedly, the God of War game that PlayStation was probably whiteboarding or developing or something like that, or contemplating, because to the best of my knowledge, not one God of War game is in development. Now, I heard about the 2D, 2.5D God of War that was supposed to be talked about. Then we heard rumblings of a remaster, which would really make sense, depending on who you listen to, based off of what we already have with the PlayStation's trajectory. Anybody thinking that this thing was coming out this year is insane. Ghost of Yote is the lone AAA title that will be releasing this year from the first party studios for PlayStation. God of War pushed to 2026, maybe a 2026 announcement. But if it's a smaller title, maybe that title would get out the door. I just don't see it. So again, I could be wrong. There could be secret underground developments of this game happening unbeknownst to the public, and I hope that's the case. Now, I want people to understand, this is Sony's parent company looking to get more streaming assets, more streaming avenues, more viewers, and doubling down on the movie strategy that they've been asking for, home strategy that they've been looking for. So reportedly, Sony's been interested in buying Warner Brothers games and assets, right? Now, they wanted them uncoupled, right? The whole aspect to it is coupled. Now, a lot of video game sites are surmising that it's for the video game assets. I will dive deeper once we read the article further. Sony's exploring the idea of buying Warner Brothers Games' various gaming assets. That included a new report that surfaced this week. According to Scoop, Sony is interested in buying Warner Brothers streaming and studio assets. These assets, the report says, would include the company's HBO Max streaming service, its various IPs, and then its gaming assets. That's a byproduct of getting the HBO Max in order to get those various IPs and stuff like that. The Sopranos and Game of Thrones and all that other stuff like that, those assets go a very long way. Those IPs are huge IPs, especially when doing transmedia and also putting these things into your program. Sony does actually plan on having a very large streaming IP movie section in its upcoming plans. If you looked at some of the plans on their notes during their shareholders meetings, you would know that Sony is looking to gain more and more IPs when it comes to movies, TV shows, and streaming content. Sources says Sony was only interested in acquiring WB streaming studios and gaming assets if they were separated from the cable networks, which have lost millions of homes as viewers abandon the traditional cable package. The report reads, Warner Brothers Discovery announced June 9th that it was splitting its company into two separate entities, WB Streamings and Studios and WB Global Networks. The split, which is scheduled to be completed by mid-2026, will see all of the company's linear assets such as TNT Sports, CNN, Discovery, and Global Networks wing streaming and studios, including HBO Max, games production studios, and more. This was then followed up with a June 17th news that Warner Brothers Game was restructuring to create new divisions based on key gaming franchises. The new divisions will focus on Mortal Kombat, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, and the DC Universe. All of which games are multi-plat games that would lose their luster if Sony was to acquire them and make them wholly first party. That won't be the case. They will continue to be third party because they have already established that pipeline and understand how to deliver across multiple of consoles. This isn't far-fetched. Like a lot of people is going to tell you that Sony isn't getting these things. I'm going to tell you, yeah, maybe it might be a little bit of there's too much positive news in one area, and Microsoft has the zeitgeist when it comes to consoles at the moment, and Sony needs to quell the fears of investors. Listen, Was this something that was always on the table? Yes, I believe this stuff is being explored. Every avenue of gains when it comes to companies are being explored across the boards. This is nothing new. This is something that should happen and most likely could happen if Sony sees a benefit that can help their streaming and their gaming division. I don't see the gaming division aspect of it. I do see the movies and streaming and TV stuff happening because Sony themselves wants to bolster up their IP's intake. If you can get like a Game of Thrones movie going, new Harry Potter movies and stuff like that, these movies and stuff that they can actually use is very good. And Sony would be looking forward to that. To push its climate control agenda, Sony has teamed up with the United Nations to give you a free game. Always look at free stuff with the quinine. Now, nothing's free. You're going to have your data removed, and they're going to see how you interact with this game. Now, with the PlayStation VR 2 being enabled here, I'm going to tell you that, again, I'm a VR person, and to manipulate the algorithm to see what climate change does in real time in the 3D environment, in the 3D space, actually manipulating and seeing exactly what past iterations of the Earth look like opposed to what current and what futures may look like. This free interactive experience about climate, it's called Climate Station, gives you a peek into the agenda of actual climate control and climate prevention. Is it real? Is it fake? That's up to you to decide, but there is a free game. Now, once you say the United Nations puts this together, I'm telling you, I'm looking at it through a quine eye, all right? But I'm a conspiracy theorist at heart, and at the end of the day, this is something cool to play with. Now, if you're one of those people that want to be ecologist, if you want to be about the environment, if you're trying to figure out what's happening over in different parts of the world, if that is your ultimate goal in life, I think this is a starting point for you. If you happen to have the tech, I think you're able to utilize it. If you happen to have a PlayStation, I think you're able to utilize it. I just find it very funny that this thing is partnered with Sony and the United Nations. Bro, this is a whole new level of agenda pushing, right? In our games, agendas. When would it start? Why? Yo, the other day I was playing Pitfall Harry 2, and my grandson got a chance to see it. He was just baffled at it and the graphics and the sound, and it was amazing. And I saw pure joy in his face. It's stuff like this with people's agendas that I know that there's no joy in no one's face. Word on the street is Cellular Cheeks is going to make their way over to the Nintendo Switch 2. That will be an incredible boon for Shift Up, kind of shifting their focus from the PlayStation ecosystem into an ecosystem that is going to be ravenous for this game, opposed to the PC and just PlayStation. The Nintendo team will definitely welcome this over to their console. Now, you can play it on your Steam Deck right now. You can play it on your PC. You can play it on your PlayStation. And then Switch will open up another doorway. Opening up that doorway for the Switch 2 will also open up the doorway for possibilities of being on that Xbox console. Now, you can never have too much cheeks. Pause. But the thought process in getting that game to everywhere is an incredible thought. For you fake stock investors, for you frauds that want to talk numbers and actually think that the PlayStation console is the leading console in any factor, here's a little wet blanket for your face. Nintendo Switch 2 has powered a $39 billion rally this year. The company has went up 46% this year, adding more than $39 billion to the stock value. The surge was driven strongly by the demand of the Switch 2, which sold 3.5 million units in 4 days. The previous version of the Switch, which was released in 2017, sold roughly 152 million units. Now, all you dudes that want to sit there and cap and act like people are making tons of money off of the Sony PlayStation, I want you to look at this. I want you to take this wet blanket and I want you to throw it upon yourself and realize this. The reasons why they asked if Nintendo is a credible threat is because this right here will have investors pull out from you, pause, and place their investments into a Nintendo's holding. This is a real critical threat. If you think that weak system is not a real threat, ask the 2,880 units that was stolen, equaling roughly $1 million in merchandise. And I can tell you there's a demand for it. If people is risking 15 years in prison to get their hands on a truckload of Nintendo 2 Switches, you know for a fact there's a high demand out there. Keep your eyes peeled for them cheap Switches. You know where we got them from. Texas is a hub of this. Do you know when I got my PlayStation VR 2, one of the games that I was looking forward to the most was Beat Saber? Because at that time they didn't really have a lot of those rhythm-based games that I like, puzzle games. And Beat Saber was absolutely like the best entry point to that because I've played it on multiple devices. Well, shining a light on the PlayStation VR 2's lack of success in the marketplace. The company behind Beat Saber is ending its support for the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5 VR efforts. Crossplay between the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5 will remain active as of June 18th. In addition, the multiplayer will no longer be available on either PlayStation console from the 21st of January in 2026. Beginning this month, updates will no longer be released, including new songs or music packs. The game will still be available for download and play, while any extra content released prior to the 18th will remain purchasable and playable. Now, the VR rhythm game will still be available on other platforms, including Steam and MetaQuest. And they will get updates and they will get all of this stuff and they will continue to thrive. But they said our passion in VR remains unwavering. We are excited about the possibilities that lie ahead and what we can bring to Beat Saber fans who have been on this journey with us over the past years. The final song added Beat Saber on PlayStation will therefore be Lady Gaga, Abracadabra, Death, or Love Tonight. Wow. That sucks. Man, if you have a PlayStation VR 2, much like myself, you relied and believed in the product. You were told that the product will be supported. And listen, I know what happens when, you jump into the market and this stuff is new. We take the risk. We got the devices. Was it a bit pricey? I believe price played a part in destroying it. I believe software played a larger part in destroying it as well, based off of the fact that Sony was never truly committed to putting AAA titles into the device. I think the device itself could have and should have received those titles. A Spider-Man game would have went a long way. I think that, they made an Iron Man game. I think a Spider-Man game would have went a long way. Lean heavily into those titles, but these licenses cost. And you can't use large licenses on titles that you don't know if it's going to reach a larger audience. There's the chicken or the egg theory here. And again, you can't sell to an audience that's not there, but you thought based off of the leverage of the install base of the consoles, so was told to us that they had X amount of consoles, you thought the adoption rate would pick up at some point in time. But there was a lack of compelling software, and the price point wasn't at a price that we thought that it needed to be. Therefore, the death of the PlayStation VR 2 was imminent. It was something that was definitely going to happen. The problem with this is a consumer like myself that is left out, jaded, upset, and afraid to even think about any other devices coming from this manufacturer. If that device doesn't, like a portal, link to your PlayStation 5 and utilize your whole library, well, then why the hell will I invest in this product? I see that's why the Portal is way more successful than the VR. The VR is a niche product that doesn't utilize every aspect of the products that they have on the device, on the main device, right? You need a PlayStation 5 for one. That was a $500, $600 piece of tech. Then you added another $600 piece of tech, and then that's $1,200 to actually get inside the ecosystem. And then you had a limited cache of games that wasn't backwardly compatible with the first ones, right? So you limited yourself immediately from the jump. I think poor management, poor vision, and the fact that you wanted to monetize and take as much as you possibly can from a small fan base, you could have grew the existing PlayStation 1 fan base into a larger fan base by allowing the original software, the PlayStation VR 1 software, to be backwardly compatible on a VR 2. And not try to nickel and dime them. That way you start off with a larger base of games for them to work with. And those existing gamers migrate over to the new tech while taking their previous library. Doing so, you come in at an entry point of $300 to $400. Subsidize the thing, make it affordable so that they're able to get in. Make it an under $1,000 purchase because you need a PlayStation 5. Then you utilize it for big screen mode, for watching movies, playing video games. You center a lot of your AAA titles around this thing, but you also make your 2D games playable inside of this 3D hardware. It had to be a larger push. I don't think the push was there. I don't think the vision was there. And I just thought it was a passion project meant by somebody inside of Sony just to have a check mark like we have VR. The competition doesn't. Well, the competition understood the undertaking that it was in order to make VR a profitable thing. And you guys really struck gold with the first one and thought that would migrate over. You did exactly what Microsoft did with the Kinect. The Kinect was a unique piece of tech in the beginning. They forced the tech on to people with the Xbox One. It just really didn't take off, right? You didn't force this tech onto the consumer, but what you did was put it out of the reach of the consumer with the price point and the fact that the backward compatibility wasn't there. So the downfall of the PlayStation VR 2 is very much written on the wall before it shipped. I told you it was DOA. I told you the price point was made it prohibitive. And this is one of the final games, which is probably one of the best games just to leave. Good thing I have Luminis to look forward to because I do own the tech and the tech is absolutely worthless. You can't get rid of it any place. People are selling it in Facebook Marketplace for like $100, if not like $50. So if you do happen to see one and you have a PlayStation 5, I would highly encourage you to get it to experience the games that they do have in it. It's a good piece of tech. But what I'm saying is the lack of support from Sony kind of killed it. So while the PlayStation 5 is still a viable thing, I say go get it. Let me tell you something. I was watching the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, right? And I got a chance to look at it. And, listen, I got my Switch 2. And the game that I've been looking for mostly is for Donkey Kong Bonanza. And they kind of spoiled it for me. We're living in an age where everybody needs to have their information out there, be right, be ready, be whatever. And they kind of spoiled it for me. I was cool when he had that little rock on his back and I didn't know that it was Pauline that was inside the rock. And I was cool when I didn't need to know about them singing and dancing and doing all these things. I was absolutely cool with the knowledge that I had. But being that they always have to be selling. Listen, this game was going to sell regardless. People are buying the Switch up regardless. This is the next wave of, well, a game that can actually get the ecosystem jumping. And I just felt that letting the cat out of the bag with who was The Rock, and I know you want to tell you more about the game, but wait till the game is released, or at least, but I mean, like, damn, we're in June. It comes out next month, like a full month later, probably in the next 29 days, right? This game comes out. Well, the game comes out in 29 days. 29 days, I pretty much know basically the story of what I'm supposed to do. All the surprises are really out of the bag. Donkey Kong is able to morph into other creatures, and this is madness. Actually, that Donkey Kong is really Donkey Kong Jr. Cranky Kong is really the original Donkey Kong, and I don't even know like who's Diddy Kong and stuff like that. It's just bugged out stuff. Like Donkey Kong has a weird lineage, and man, a game that I was absolutely looking forward to. I thought this Direct was going to have smaller pieces of Donkey Kong and give you more games that were coming, or more functionalities with the device, or talk about the software updates, the handheld stuff. I thought they was going to do that. They decided not to do that. They decided to do what they did, and they gave me pretty much everything to do with Donkey Kong. Now, the graphics immediately jump at me. The upgrade in tech and in the hardware allows for the software to look as good as it does look. Is it the best looking game? No, but Nintendo knows platformers, and they know platformers well. And me personally, I'm a huge platformer head. So again, I'm looking forward to this. Like, listen, the first couple of games that I did put in was Mario Galaxy inside my Switch 2. So me playing Mario Galaxy, I'm like, yeah, they're going to do this and they're going to do that and all this other stuff. But now I'm looking back at it and I'm like, damn, bro, you actually took all of that information that I had there and took away the excitement. The removal of excitement from me is insane. It's sick. It's sick. So again, Donkey Kong Bonanza Direct peels back the layers of Donkey Kong transformative new adventure on the Nintendo Switch 2. Donkey Kong has a new partner, Pauline. They smash, bash, and climb and sing their way through a brand new 3D platform action adventure coming exclusively to the Nintendo Switch 2, July 17th. New ways to smash and bash, Bonanza transformation, there's co-op play. By sharing the Joy-Con 2 controller, you and a friend can control Donkey Kong and Pauline separately in local co-op. Unleashing Pauline's vocal blast using the Joy-Con 2 controller's mouse functionality, you can also use Game Share to share the game and play in co-op with another player locally, even if they don't have the game themselves, and use Game Chat to invite friends online to join you via voice or video chat. There's collectibles, there's amiibos that you get a chance to use. You know I'm a huge amiibo collector. I do have a bunch of amiibos that can actually interact with this. I'm definitely going to get the Donkey Kong amiibo with Pauline. I'm looking forward to having that. Again, familiar faces in different places. Donkey Kong Bonanza brings you a ton of new stuff that I don't think that we knew that we were getting, right? You get the transformations with Kong, you get Pauline. I think, honestly, they should have kept this closer to breast and did this probably the first week of July, maybe a second week of July. But doing this now, it's whatever. Listen, on the 17th, Superman comes out, and I'm going to have Donkey Kong Bonanza on the 17th. And while I'm waiting, I'm going to be playing Donkey Kong Bonanza right before I see the Superman movie. Simple. Now that we got a chance to see what my frustrations is when it comes to the PlayStation VR and Sony's ineptitude when it comes to supporting peripherals, this is a long history of Things that don't perform, Sony kills. And I've been witnessing this since the lifespan, the 30 years of PlayStation. For 30 years, PlayStation has not supported peripherals that didn't perform well, piss poorly. Even those that you thought performed well, they actually ended. So to see them even entertaining the thought of getting into handhelds, excuse me, after the fact that they lost the desire to make handhelds, it's kind of funny. They always have knee-jerk reactions to stuff that they have. Like, you see the PlayStation Portal. The PlayStation Portal is a device that's a streaming device. Really didn't cost too much to make, put together, and get out there, and they just put it out there to see. It was a lot of passion projects done during the PlayStation 5 to probably expand their ecosystem. So now they did this, and it's a success. Now they decoupled it from the PlayStation 5 itself. You're able to download, not download, stream games to your portal without the necessarily need of a PlayStation 5. Just, have your library, your digital library, and do that. That was a test bed. Now they're going full steam ahead with a handheld, thinking that they're going to get success, the same amount of success that they've seen from the portal, if not more. I believe it will be successful, but I also believe that will come at the cost of the PlayStation 6. Or the PlayStation 6 will turn into a PlayStation 5 Pro, and won't be that much greater in spec from the PlayStation 5 Pro, right? So it probably won't even be called a 6. It'll probably be something like the PlayStation Unity or whatever the hell. But Nintendo, taking my enthusiasm for Donkey Kong Bonanza and just tossing it in the street. Like, you laid bare the majority of the game. And I'm like, damn, leave me some form of discovery. Leave me some form of world exploration. You actually took everything off the board. I don't need to know everything. I just need to know some things going in. Like, that was a huge reveal showing Pauline. And was that smart? I don't know. Is it smart? I don't think so. Because I'm still going to get it, because that's pretty much one of the reasons why I actually got the device, right? I saw Donkey Kong. I thought it was the game of the show. Mario Kart is cool. I got the Mario Kart edition. Cool. Just like a lot of you thieves out there that are actually getting the Mario Kart edition from the theft. But yeah, that part. I'm just saying, this is strange. I don't need that error. Don't give me everything, man. Leave some discovery up to us. Xbox. Now, people are upset with me because I said the other day that Xbox Final Fantasy 16 sold 22,000 copies. I was reacting to a post or an informational on the sites, basing it off of another site that got the data claiming that only 22,000 copies were sold. I'm telling everybody, if you were interested in the title, pick it up. Right? It's $50. Pick it up. If you're going to get the larger version, get the larger version or whatever. But it's, I don't think it's going to sell an incredible amount of units, to be honest with you. It's an older game. And I'm saying older games don't sell a tremendous amount of units. What I'm trying to say is it was a very disliked game. All right? So the reason why it underperformed on the PlayStation 5 was people didn't like the direction of that Final Fantasy. They didn't like the medieval Game of Thrones look of it, right? So I would see what Final Fantasy VII Remake does, but I happen to like the direction of this game. Now, I know everybody call it Final Fantasy May Cry, like Devil May Cry. They don't like that aspect to it. and that's cool. Listen, some people don't like action RPGs. I thought Final Fantasy 15 was cool. It was dope. I got it on Xbox. I believe I brought it on PlayStation. I've always supported the Final Fantasy franchises, no matter where they may show up. I haven't picked up the Pixel ones, and I think I need to pick up the Pixel ones. But again, my backlog is growing in stature, and my playtime is as limited as it will always be, with me still loving live service games. But I'm gonna say again, the Final Fantasy story is to be continued. When Matt Piscatella comes out with the official data points on how much units were sold, Steam didn't sell that many. PlayStation, I think, sold the most at the moment for 3.5 million or 3 million, and then Steam did something like 200,000. I expect Xbox to probably come in close to that, if not a little bit higher. It's again, you played the bag game. You took the bag to limit your reach, and in limiting your reach, you kind of stunted your growth. You had a time where Expedition 33 is going crazy inside Game Pass, and you're asking the audience that has this level of games that's inside Game Pass, RPGs, to take their money to purchase a game that you snubbed them and put it on the competitor's platform, and asking them to support you after it was already confirmed that you money had it. And then you bring out a version of the game that is at a lower resolution spec in some aspects, even though it's more stable. But regardless to what, you didn't give one that was superior in performance to the PlayStation version. So again, you treated the Xbox community as an afterthought, and they're going to in turn do the same thing to you. I don't begrudge any Xbox person for looking at Square and saying "Ba Fangu" and don't give you anything that you're desiring, and getting it when they can, whenever they can, or if never getting it at all. You have cultivated that attitude when it came to the Xbox community based off of you taking that money from Sony. So you have to do a lot of grassroots digging and fixing that here in order to get the audience that you're looking for. I've seen the comments. I've read each and every last one of you guys' comments, and don't think it was a me versus you thing. It was a me versus the vocal minority that was screaming out they wanted Final Fantasy. You want it, you buy it. That's my thing about it. Me personally, I did it. So again, and I already had it. So again, I can't say I want something and then when it's available for me, I don't go get it. Those are who I'm talking to. If you are taking a stance and you have the right to vote with your wallet, then you continue to take that stance and be consistent with your stance. I'm not begrudging you. You have the absolute right to do whatever you want to do. The news with the Xbox handheld and Xbox devices and Xbox and Microsoft teaming up with AMD to bring you the diversity in what you expect as Microsoft has laid bare their plans. PC gamers, console gamers, cloud streamers, Microsoft and Xbox is looking at all of you as one big banquet in order for them to feast. And they're not limiting themselves in any area. While in the background, they're building up their cloud infrastructure to give you better fidelity based off of the reports that I've been receiving, and, teaming up with highest fidelity with NVIDIA Now or NVIDIA Go to get that to you. Teaming up with larger services like Amazon in order to use Fire Sticks to get you Game Pass and those games streaming to you, cloud streaming through those devices, and actual television sets that don't require you having a console. Cloud streaming and cloud gaming is growing by leaps and bounds. Actually, it's been one of the largest sectors in which to do so. And of course, it would be so because there's a dearth of people there. The FTC ruling was based off of the cloud infrastructure, not exclusivity. They were more afraid, and the CMA was more afraid of Xbox and Microsoft's dominance in the cloud sector because there's really nobody that's over there. PlayStation has touted that they've been doing this for 11 years, but 11 years of ineptitude is still ineptitude, and that doesn't mean that you have made any headway in this space. Now, as far as consoles go, there will be consoles. Xbox told you that they're making consoles, and from all the thoughts and promises, there will be products that will be made probably by third-party people. You see, this level of thinking outside of the box gives them a larger flexibility in order to facilitate what you want. Now, are these devices also PC and hybrid? This is when you go over to the PC sensibilities. To give you, if you will, a console that has the power of a mini PC with the flexibility of being console with being PC, with leveraging that aspect of that duality, if you will, in that box, changing how you perceive it. Remember, when you get Game Pass Ultimate, you get PC Game Pass. Those games are available to you right there. Could you imagine at a toggle, you're on the PC side of the Game Pass world and you have access to all those titles that didn't make the migration over the console Game Pass? And then a toggle again, you go right back to console Game Pass. You have your library accessible to you throughout everything. That's past, present, and future. This level of flexibility is unheard of. I know it's terrifying the most. I know people are afraid of exactly what they're seeing here because this has been undone. This has not has been done. This has been uncharted territory, if you will. They're willing to boldly go where no manufacturer, console, and publisher has gone before. These are the voyages of the Star Trek Enterprise, which 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and civilizations, to boldly go where no console has gone before. Yeah, I'm an absolute nerd. All right. So I want you to see this, if you will. There's no more limitations. When they break this barrier, and they have already started and they already have, the fighting points, the conversations are going to change. No longer is the metrics going to ever be the same. With 524 monthly active users and engagements through the roof, Microsoft has definitely taken this to a whole different level. The future's bright. Play anywhere, play now, play on all devices. There is no console manufacturer, publisher, developer that can do this in this manner. PlayStation has to fight off Nintendo. When Phil Dominus Maximus Aurelius Spencer, first of his name, told you he never looked at PlayStation as competition, you guys was thinking too small. You got to think big, bitch. They were thinking for the whole pie. While you wanted a slice, they wanted the whole damn table. And I told you I will always bet on Satya. Young Odin, the guy that wants the first piece of chicken and the last piece of chicken. That guy wants to control everything. Remember, if a nickel bag is sold in the park, I want in. But if you liked anything in this video, if you are a fan of Microsoft and you want to see the industry through the lens of the king, well, you found your new best channel. Hit that like, follow, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Go to the merch store. Check out what I got there. Love what I do and do what I love is my motto. But I'm going to take that logo and I'm going to throw it around some Marvel Rivals. I saw that new Moon Knight skin. I ain't going to hold you. The king got to get into that. And I'm going to tell you like I always tell you, try to play the Game Pass.